Hi Aries ladies, this is your Ching Book of Changes online relationship spread by Thea for February 2017. I'm Thea. I'm doing readings now privately, and you can email me if you would like one of those. These are general readings for the astrological signs, but I do more in-depth readings, so just email me with your question and I'll be sure to get back to you. Also, please subscribe and share this video. The first two cards here are the grounding of the relationship. So these are the foundations of your relationship. They're meant to tell you where each partner is coming from and give you a clue to what your partner is experiencing. So that's why I really recommend also seeing the astrological card reading for your partner in question. And there might be more than one, so enjoy. So these cards also, the first two cards, this is going to be your card here, can tell you about what's undermining the security. So for this month, your card is depicting hexagram 53, which is development. So let's look at this card here and see what kind of message it's sending us. What is the message here? So the message here is that just as it takes many steps to create an entire journey, it does begin with one step here, Aries. It also requires a sense of purpose. So have you at all been at cross purposes with yourself? This kind of purpose involves sometimes a unity that can arise out of the relationship between goals. So as well, this also is telling us that within a relationship, just as both parties might have different goals, you can learn about each other's goals to create that unity that you're searching for. So think of the unity as a body. Your mind isn't telling your right foot and then your left foot to go. It just happens. And that happens even better when there's a lot of balance and rapport between two people. So this card is saying that there needs to be cooperation, respect, and mutual attraction, and also a shared vision to continue developing. So you're developing cooperation, you're developing respect, you have mutual attraction, and these are strengths within the relationship. So sometimes it can seem as if we're not sure if everything is sustainable, all the aspects are sustainable. This card is saying that there definitely is a chance that there are, and it takes time to learn about each person. So this is really going to be a month that you're going to get to know each other really much better. You're going to get to know each other better, or there's a need to get to know each other better. This card is also asking you to keep your mind on the present. So avoiding dreams. This is a very practical card. Might be reflecting a very practical kind of relationship. Every relationship needs to have an element of being practical. This card is also saying that there are times when you want to just slam the door and stop everything, and it's reminding you that wisdom can come through going through the challenges and not looking for distractions. So it's telling you to stay attentive to what is happening. So basically, this card is really a truth card, and it's really about looking straight in the eye and learning from everything. It's a really practical card. Congratulations. Okay, so this is your partner's card. It's rather a hexagram, and it's hexagram 64. And hexagram 64 is called before completion in the I Ching. And this is it's basically saying that there's still some steps to be taken, that there's something that's not quite finished yet for your partner, and your partner even might feel that they're on thin ice. They're walking on thin ice with you right now. So this card is a reminder that even though you might feel, this card might be warning that your partner might feel like they're running on empty, they really need to keep going, because they're going to find a new footing and a new ground with you, or whatever it is that they might be experiencing. There is no guarantees, and really, if something isn't working, then just try another way. So if you're going one way and the ice starts to feel like it's cracking underneath you, you can turn around and go, to the left and straight. So you can try that if certain things in the relationship aren't working. Just try a different track within yourself as well. So don't be afraid of abandoning things that just don't work. And don't act just because other people tell you to do so. Your partner might be getting advice from friends or advice from books that just isn't working, and they need to let go of that and get in touch with their own sense of what does work. And they're going to get a lot of respect, both from you and from themselves, for making that decision, Aries ladies. The next two cards are the emotional climate, and they focus on the dynamic, or what's supporting your relationship within, and also what is supporting each of you. They also can point to where there's miscommunication, and because these are the heart position, these cards can also show us where it is that we're stumbling. So this card for you, Aries, is basically a reminder. Hexagram 62 is a reminder that small is beautiful. So if you've lost touch of the fact that sometimes small can work and is better than big, then this is a card reminding you about that. So this card is reminding you, Aries, that sometimes you need to handle things a little bit more delicately. So just think that whatever has been preoccupying you, or has been your red line this month, really handling it delicately might be the key to restoring the balance and relieving anything that's become really too much for you in your life. You don't have really the energy to take on more than you can just handle. So this is telling you you have to let go of that and handle things lightly and gracefully and delicately. Just like that butterfly probably isn't going to walk across that red line. It's probably going to go and fly and land on, what is that? One petal, one purple flower petal to another. So ways to do that is basically whatever helps you center yourself is going to help you breathe through your emotional wounds. And if there's something that you do compulsively, you need to treat yourself like that butterfly's wings. That butterfly doesn't see how beautiful it is. Everybody else can. So just remembering that this month might be what you need to just remind yourself how wonderful you are, Aries. Again, pay attention to the right timing, even if it means withdrawing. And also just really being vulnerable. So there's some really amazing vulnerability experts online. I really recommend checking them out. And you can email me if you have any questions about who they are. I can point you in the right direction with that. Also, it's really important to be humble and respect how delicate and precious life is. And you will come into balance with the way of the Tao, is the message of this card. Okay, so what is your partner's card? Your partner has hexagram 20, and that's contemplation. So your partner is definitely going through a period where they are thinking about things, and it could be related to the relationship. So you see a figure of a man walking through a night and he has a moon to show the way. Contemplation is remembering that there's no separateness. Everything that we perceive also exists within ourselves. So when we listen to the inner silence and we make our heart more calm, we learn to understand how nature is very, very wise. This is a card of accepting, and also this is a very spiritual card. So it's also a card that reveres its solitude. So this is a card to just remind us and your partner, Aries, that, and this might be also a very strong point. This might be what attracted you to your partner, is that they're very calm and they understand that speeding through life is just not their style. And what can we learn from that? When we speed through things, we cheat ourselves of very small but important moments. So being prepared to accept the silence as a way of really finding some new depth is the gift that we get from this card. So just remembering that our own selves are created, and we will have our own particular landscape, and nourishing that this will create some sort of very huge shift in our consciousness, that when we were so busy thinking that one way was just ultimately the only way we could go, this card is reminding us that there is an inner way as well. So this card as well is saying that silence and serenity and just being kind of hermetic right now is gonna give your partner a whole new taste, and you might learn something as well from your partner in this. So notice the signs that this is what your partner is doing, and incorporate that into your own lifestyle, I would say, is kind of what this card is saying. Contemplation. Okay, the last cards before the insight cards are basically focusing on giving you an insight in your state of mind and your partner's state of mind. And these cards can also give you a clue to your own hopes and fears of each other. And it can, by assessing these cards, you might be able to have a breakthrough in the way that you approach one another and see your connection in a new sort of light. So your card here is the clinging, hexagram 30. And this card, as I've said, I've gotten this card in the past 4 readings I've done. So I think that this card is definitely up for everyone this month of February. It's asking us to look at what can fire do. So fire clings to whatever is giving it its energy. And obviously there's energy that's gotten from this relationship. It's passionate. You're on fire, so to speak. Also, sometimes if things don't seem so passionate, sometimes the flame is blue. Okay, sometimes we experience passion dispassionately, and sometimes even if something is really strong, we can fight for it to the point of just wreaking a lot of havoc in our lives. So this card is asking us to be mature towards things that we're passionate about. It's asking us not to leap and then look before leaping, or not leap before looking. Otherwise, it's just you're being impulsive. It's also saying that this card is saying that if there's fascination, that you don't necessarily need to shy away from it. Just because something is pulling you doesn't mean that you need to pull back. So you can be blinded, but at the same time sometimes new experiences are invaluable because they really help us to get clearer about our life. So this might be asking you to make some passionate choices. Maybe it's a passionate show of love this Valentine's Day. Whatever it is, there's definitely passion in the air with this card. And if something has been kind of consumed with fires, know that from that there's just regeneration. So you're really going to learn. So don't be afraid of strong feelings. For your partner, we have 59, which is dispersion. And this hexagram is telling us about a time when there's a lot of factors that seem up in the air, and things that seem scattered and don't seem like they have a particular place within your soul. Your partner is experiencing a time where not everything seems unified. But if unification is indeed what your partner wants, then what's going to be needed is greater communication. And that greater communication also is greater communication within their self and with you. So Aries women, if you've been waiting for more communication to happen, maybe your partner also needs to gather the bits and bobs of their soul before they can have that important talk with you. Also, this card can be showing that if there's something that's in the way of a natural flow, just by becoming aware about that, there'll be more harmony as long as you find the means to break down those hindrances. So this card saying that by dissolving things, by dissolving the obstacles, that can be done with some warmth. So if there's been a chilly atmosphere at all, if there's been a chilly demeanor, if your partner's been acting cold or feels a little cold, see, this person is out in the wind. By not applying pressure, you can actually get them to warm up to you. So just being warm and not reacting defensively or blaming is going to help things bring back together. This includes no temper tantrums or ultimatums. So it's going to call for your partner finding their intention and expressing it relaxed and not in a rushed way. So don't rush is what this card is saying, because you really can't rush all these different parts. And don't worry about face, because there's no face to be lost here. If there's something that needs to be expressed, which is what this card is saying, then you're going to express it, and it's going to float away. It's not going to be a big issue. So this is a good time to air out any grievances. This is the final card. It's the insight card. This one happens to be hexagram number 1, which is the creative. And the creative is really, it's a positive card. It's the first hexagram, and it really represents a lot of potential. This potential needs, it needs its stage, so to speak, but it's really one of the strongest hexagrams that exists within the I Ching. So here we see a hand, and it's just saying that by remaining open and saying yes and dropping what you expect of one another, you're really going to move through a lot of the shifts that we saw with the other cards. So if you get one big message, it's this last one, which is saying, really be saying yes to one another, and realize that there's so much potential here for the both of you, and also that not to be discouraged or distracted by what your mind is always saying something's not enough. Focus on what isn't enough, because there's a lot of enoughness here, and to keep kind of creating the new moment. You don't need to hurry it around. It's gonna just, this dynamic between the two of you is really ripe this month, and it's just really for your enjoyment. This is kind of a fate card. So just allow your fate this month to express itself through yourselves and enjoy. All right, I already reminded you of subscribing and sharing, but I will again as well. Check out the astrological reading for your partner, because that might give you a little bit more insight. And if you want if you have a question or a more specific question, I do private readings, so make sure you email me, and I'll see you next month. Thank you.